welcome to CosmoMuse Tarot. Today we are going to be looking at the past, present, and future of your finances. So my intention in terms of like the timeline with this, it's going to probably vary a little bit from pile to pile, and within the pile I will try to do a little bit of work to figure that out. In terms of moving from present to future, I do intend for that to be within a year. The past, I'm going to leave a little bit more up to your own interpretation based on what comes out and how that resonates with your own past. Okay, that being said, we have 4 piles to choose from today. Pile 1, we have Athena with knowledge. And the crystal for her is clear crystal quartz. Pile 2 is Hera with alliance, and her stone is Dalmatian Jasper. Pile 3 is Isis with rebirth, and we've got a rose quartz pillar point. And then pile 4, we have Leizi, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and some kind of like white agate type of stone for her. So these cards will be incorporated in the reading. I'm not going to say where or how, just so you don't fixate too much on wanting to like choose the right goddess per se. Just feel into maybe like the colors and the stones, or just a general sense of being drawn somewhere. So feel free to pause the video here until you feel that alignment come in, and timestamps are going to be in the description, so when you are ready to jump to your reading, you can just hop on straight to your pile, and I will see pile 1 first with Athena and knowledge. All right, see you guys. Hello, pile 1. Welcome to your reading all about the past, present, and future of your finances. You guys chose Athena with the clear crystal quartz. So I'm just going to put your stone kind of to the side over here, and we will jump right into this. I'm kind of going to be systematically going through past, present, future, a few cards at a time. So we'll kind of go through a few things and then add on and go through a few things and add on and go through a few things, just to kind of really unpack the continuity here. So this first goddess is about connected to the past of your finances. So we're going to get a goddess for the other 2 categories. So for your present and for your future. Okay, so pile 1, let's get the goddess presiding over the present of your finances. Ma'at with truth. And then the goddess for the future of pile 1's finances. Mama Kila, the moon. Okay. Move some things around to make more space. Okay. Okay, there we go. So feel into these 3 cards anything about knowledge, about strategy, about aligning even with maybe some kind of connection you might have with your father too, not necessarily working with your father or being given income or finances from a father, but some kind of wisdom or sort of intellectual alignment you might have that's sort of more from that side of the family at least, that could be contributing to something about your finances, or just a general sense of strategic thinking. Currently, something about kind of coming into truth with your heart, aligning finances, having some kind of alignment with, it feels like a come to Jesus sort of right now in your finances. Your heart trying to lead you maybe to understand your values in a more inherent and intrinsic way, like inner way, really knowing what your personal heart's truth is in terms of what you value, hence the kind of value you draw into your life. And then moving into the future, we have Mama Kila, which is the moon, kind of moving from that, really getting more in touch with your heart versus head, and kind of elevating into this higher self place where you're very in touch with intuition and being motivated in finances, not on external factors. So being maybe even a little less financially motivated in the future, but being motivated by inner values, which doesn't necessarily mean less financial income. It could actually bring more financial income. It's just less motivated by that, but being more deeply anchored in your inner values and really adhering to what your values are, which could change some things. There could be some transition coming up for you from right now to the future that could be, significant. Okay, let's get an animal card for each one to get kind of an energetic vibe too. So whale. Okay, an animal for the present, hawk. Interesting how these colors are kind of aligning. And for the future, black egg, yeah, beautiful. Let's see. Okay, let's see what else is added with this in here. Financially, in your past, I think there was some kind of deeper motivation. Like across the board, I'm not seeing you guys as hugely financially motivated as, some people might be. Like you're on the spectrum of being financially motivated in your life. You need something a little deeper than just having money, having finances. And here, but in the past, there was kind of a place of coming from mind, but still that connection to what you were trying to do through mind and strategy and intellect, coming from still a deep place. I do feel this tied to at least your father's side of the family, some kind of patterns with finances, maybe a deep strategic ability with that the whale I'm reading here, at first I was feeling that as like some kind of depth, but I think that might be more like an ancestral depth, like it goes deep into your ancestry, the kind of wiring you have around finances that have been strategic and analytical and intellectual on some level, something that you really value about those things, hence maybe create kind of a financial picture in your life based on that. But in the present, there's definitely been a shift. You are moving further into your heart. Maybe you've done some ancestral unpacking in the last year or a few years where the things you value are shifting to being a little bit more tied to your heart, listening to your heart. Also with the hawk, feeling higher callings, like wanting to be connected to spirit in some way, to divine, to divinity, and to your own heart. And I think that's probably done some things in shaking up your finances. It's hard to see yet if that has created any kind of like deficit in your finances, but it has certainly created a shift in terms of your values, which are the underlying thing around finances. Truth is like really important to you right now. You may even be getting doing some digging to understand your financial patterns and trying to get into your heart to understand those, out of your head and into your heart to try and understand the truth behind certain patterns you have in terms of finances, and really trying to get a hold of where certain patterns were wired into you externally and the patterns that feel good to you internally. So I do feel a lot of deep work happening right now for you guys. Into the future, I feel a lot more clarity coming through. Like really having done a lot of work and dropping into a different place with very different wiring and being able to speak your truths, use your voice and its power may be something that contributes to finances in the future, but it's a much more clear energy, and it's not necessarily saying that you're making more, like your financial picture is just like in speaking in terms of like an income or something, like it doesn't necessarily mean you have a higher income here than you did in the past, but it's less complicated, it's more clear, it's more aligned, what your values are, how you live your values, speak your values, use your values, hence the kind of value income that comes into your life. It's much more internally motivated than strategically motivated. And it's like right now you're like in that transition of working that out. So not really getting a great sense yet of like how much financial picture you have, but there's a change in finances based on a value system. Okay, let's get a few more cards for each, go a little deeper. So past, lullaby, so present, oops, that one wants to come out, night ride, and future, stranded, interesting. Okay, we're also going to get a tarot card next to each of these to sort of enhance it, make it more clear what's being talked about. Oops, that one just came straight out. The High Priestess. The Sun. I don't know why this one feels like it's supposed to come up. And then King of Swords. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So I'm seeing with the past that there is this sense of deep intuition and deep flow, but it's still really connected to mind and strategy. But there is depth there. It's not like you're coming from a place of being just only about strategy and not super connected to the internal things. I think the internal things have been there, some deep intuition, some deep connection with spirit and something higher. At the same time, I feel like you weren't totally aware of those. They were like running in the background, and the way that you were running more on the surface was like the strategy, the more masculine kind of go get 'em to, you know, increase finances or work out finances in your life. And I think right now, as you're unpacking, moving towards coming from a more inner place, I think that's what you're unpacking is like, well, I always have been directed by something higher, by some spiritual place, but I'm just like being truthful about that now, honoring that, facing it, trying to understand what that means. And you are gaining some clarity about this. And I do think that spirit guides, the universe, whatever you are connected to, is bringing you messages and downloads to help you gain clarity about what your truth, inner truth is around what you value and how you draw value to you in a way that is authentic and true to you and very connected to your heart. And you are being protected in this. You are being protected right now to be able to do this work. So I don't feel like you're taking financial hits by being in this mode of unpacking certain understanding of what value means to you and what finances mean to you on a more spiritual level. But then moving into the future, while I do see that clear sailing and that rewiring having dropped in and it being beautiful, I do think it's going to take you a minute to get your footing, to understand. It's sort of like stepping into a new world. Well, let's make this even more relatable. So it's like moving countries. You land in a country that has a different language, a different culture, everything's different, and suddenly you're like, who am I in this place? I know who I am to me, but in this place, I've got to figure that out. I've got to find a foothold. And there's this moment, there's this a little bit of a period of trying to figure out where you fit into this new place in connection to this new mode you're dropping into. But it's because of this new mode you're dropping into that you're like transitioning the kinds of financial energies around you. And yeah, it's just going to take a minute to figure it out. And I would just say, like your intuition is strong, your voice is strong, just stay connected to those. That intellect is going to want to keep popping back up to kind of like take over and get strategic again. And I think that can be useful in terms of deploying tactics, or figuring out ways to get what you want, but know what you want not through calculation and strategy. Come to those places of knowing what you want financially from your intuition, and then voice clearly what your intuition is asking of you, and then use your mind. So it's like a switch happening. I think, like before you were using mind to determine what you wanted, and didn't understand that intuition was entangled in that. And so then the strategies that you deployed maybe sometimes got confusing, and you're figuring out the truth of that here and really switching into more of the heart and intuition driver's seat. In the future, you are in the driver's seat, but it's like you're driving a different car with different rules. And so sometimes there's this like, oh, I need to go into my mind to figure this out and strategize. But it's like, no, don't. Still use your intuition, your gut sense of what you should be doing and connecting to inner places. And once those give the voice and the goal and the definition of something, then you can use your mind. So just, it's a kind of this switch of like the mind kind of being underneath and trying to get into things. So just an awareness of that. But I do feel like you'll get over that moment. This stranded feels temporary to me. It feels like just a blip on the radar because this feels so clear to me and peaceful. But it's just going to take you a minute to find your footing of like, how does that work in our modern world to be coming at finances from a very intuitive, sort of feminine, intuitive, receptive place. I think it's just like a switch in orientation that, yeah, it will just take a minute, but you still have this really strong mind and you can deploy that to help you, but just not as, as the navigator, not the driver. Okay, let's get another card for each of these. Purification. Okay, one for the present. Yeah, illumination. Diligence. Something happened in your past in this more strategic mode. That I don't know if it was like an experience you had, a mentor, or someone that modeled something, or worldly events, or some event. Yeah, just something happened though that really pointed out the way in which you were approaching your finances, that kind of showed where there were, things happening under the surface that you weren't fully aware of, and that motivated you to really dig in and do some deep ancestral and psychological work to align to your values and align to what finances mean to you. I think it was refreshing. I think you may have felt a little chained by this past. Maybe you were in like more corporate settings and now you've kind of, it's possible that you're still in some corporate settings here. I don't feel it deeply for everyone, but it is still possible because the present feels like a transition time where you're in the trenches of illuminating yourself, of really, this was like an awakening, but then you have to go into the trenches and actually do the deep work, and that's where you're at right now. But you are being protected, so I feel like your financial picture is safe and stable. If you don't feel it as such, ask for that protection. Ask for protection. Ask for some security, and that could come in the form of just your job feeling stable, or if you have like debts, payment plans feeling easy and stable and manageable. Some kind of protection though coming in where things should just kind of be able to run on autopilot a little bit for you, where you don't have to stress too much about finances, whatever you are dealing with, whether it's paycheck to paycheck, paying off debts, or saving up to have a, more robust financial picture. Wherever you are with that, like ask for the protection to come in where you shouldn't have to worry about bills, loss of income, or even promotions. Like things should just be on autopilot, so you can kind of do this deeper work into your heart around like what does money mean to me in this lifetime? What purpose does that serve on a deeper level than just like security? What are my inner values, and how is that reflected in terms of how I understand finances in my life? So deep, keep digging, keep doing some reflection. If you have the means, maybe a financial counselor, or even like a psychotherapist, someone that can kind of go into more archetypal and deeper, interesting areas to help you sort of unpack who you are when it comes to the material world, archetypal energy around that feels interesting. And then when you feel like you've kind of come out of that and you really understand in this new intuitive heart way what the material world, what finances, what money means to you in this life, and you're coming at it with a deeper clarity, just keep at it. This is talking about that moment of feeling a little bit like stalled or uncertain who you are in this new mode. Practice makes perfect. Keep going, persevere, just keep focused and being in that energy that you know is correct for you. It will pay off and you will get your feet underneath you. That stranded will ease up and move, and you'll figure out who you are here. Okay, I also wanted to see a planet that was involved in each of these. South Node, yeah, this totally makes sense. South Node, this was like old programming. Your past with finances was definitely like past life programming or ancestral programming. I still feel this connection because of Athena to like the father side. If that doesn't connect you, it may be past life father connections. But there is definitely like some deep roots in your programming around finances. Okay, in the present, Saturn. Yeah, you're taking your finances more seriously too, and really like coming to this place of like, what is it I actually want to contribute to the world? What do I want to be? So like career is very entangled currently with finances, at least in a conceptual way, minimally. Wanting your authority, the things you give a lot of time, focus, dedication, effort to cultivate a sense of mastery and authority in yourself. There's something about that you're trying to do right now in a very heart-centered way, and that I think you hope will provide you with like a certain financial picture. And I think, Saturn energy is amazing. It just takes time, dedication, effort. It's the long game. So just know that but it is a planet that can bring some financial and material reward for sure. Stay focused. Get a good idea of like who you want to be, not what you want to do. If you're aligned to who you want to be, what you're doing will then get in line with that. Sometimes we get that backwards. And if we're not aligned with who we want to be, the doing is just sort of spinning wheels. So that could be part of the stuff you're unpacking right now, is like, who do I want to be in the world? And something about that is very connected to how you value yourself, hence the kind of value you allow yourself to hold in life and attract in life. Okay, let's look at a planet for your future. South Node again, interesting. Well, you may be doing kind of like the same thing, but just changing the approach of how you're doing it from head to heart. And there's nothing wrong with coming from the South Node. It's a place of like, a place where we have inherent wisdom and skill that we came into this life with, and there's nothing wrong with building upon that. It is a little bit of a comfort zone, but it is something that we can create a lot of exchange and power around. So yeah, I mean, it does indicate to me that you're maybe not necessarily like fully changing what you're doing, or what you generally value, but you're changing how, like, yeah, moving from head to heart and intuition, which will serve you better with the South Node anyway. Yeah, a much more intuitive sense of, yeah, just like rightness with things going smoothly, things having good karma versus complicated karma. I feel the South Node over here, because the South Node has a lot to do with like karma in this lifetime, is like maybe you were dealing with some difficult karma here. But you're kind of getting over the hump, and now you're working your past life karma in a much more harmonious, balanced, mature way. And so now you're bringing in like the positive side of some of the karma that you've built up from past lives. So there is like a spiritual thread here all the way through, for sure. So there is this need to kind of call on Spirit to help lead you, even though you can be connected to your own intuition and your own heart. I do feel this sense of being always connected to something higher than you, to help you stay on the right side of kind of dealing with karmic things in your life. Okay, I did want to get a message too about the transition from present to future. And then a dice also to show at what point in the year, because my intention is that it's sometime within a year of seeing this that you'll move here. So the transition advice from Spirit is the flicker. New rhythms are coming into your life now. You are encouraged to trust and adapt. Yeah, it's all about adapting, trusting, and just staying true to you and diligent about that in whatever new environment starts to unfold at some point this year. And then I wanted to roll a Zodiac dice to see which season this is going to take place. So whichever sign comes up, it will be that season of the year from when you see this. So the next time that season comes up, from when you see this, that this switch will kind of be taking place. Gemini. So from when you see this, the next Gemini season, so generally in June, is when this switch is going to happen for you, or at least some evidence and traction that this is starting to take place. Okay, I hope this was insightful, helpful with finances. It definitely doesn't feel necessarily like a financial picture, like the amount of finances you have are changing. This is more about what your internal values are, so you're developing a more spiritual relationship to the material world and finances. But it feels not much of a shift. Once you get further into this, maybe even a year after this, once you have some footing, I think there could be some improvements because you're, much more deeply aligned with yourself at that point. And that always brings sort of better energy. But in general, I feel just this protection, status quo, but a shift in what your values are, hence, your relationship to finances in general. Okay, if this resonated or was helpful, I always appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes. Also, kind and thoughtful comments are great to receive, and definitely hope to see you in future readings. So have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. Hello, Pile 2. Welcome to your reading where we are going to look at the past, present, and future of your finances. You guys chose the Dalmatian Jasper, which I'm just going to put to the side here, as well as Hera with Alliance. So Hera is going to represent the goddess presiding over your past in finances, and we are going to get another goddess for present and future. We're going to get a few cards, a couple of cards for each, and kind of unpack that, and then add a few more cards for each and unpack it. So kind of a systematic process of like really understanding what's going on with the past, present, and future of your finances. So let's get Pile 2's goddess for the present of finances. So let's take this top one. Sophia with divine wisdom. And then let's get a goddess for the future of Pile 2's finances. Nyx with secrets. Interesting. Okay. Let's see if these, okay, sorry, I just like to have those aligned a certain way. Okay, we're also going to get an animal companion for each of these goddesses. So an animal for Pile 2's past, present, and future of finances. So the moth with Hera. Interesting. Okay. Animal for the present of Pile 2's finances, hummingbird. Very light energy with the animals, at least. Okay, and then an animal for the future of Pile 2's finances. Panther. Okay. Okay, so some general thoughts coming out already. I don't know, for some of you, I'm going to give a few different scenarios so that you guys can connect to what aligns for you. Some of you may be people who have come from like a trust fund or who have spouses that do well, and it's made finances somewhat easy for you. At the same time, in the past, this isn't the present, the past, there's something there where it's some kind of partnership, union, connection, other support that was around you sort of allowed you to not have to really develop a strong understanding of finances. At the same time, there's still like a way with finances that you may have had that was whimsical and beautiful, but just not like deep though. It's like you took it lightly, and it may have been a little bit easy come, easy go because of maybe a not deep understanding of like building finances versus just using finances. At the same time, it might have been just like a period in your life where that wasn't supposed to be a focus for what you were meant to grow in. And so this was just an area of your life that was just kind of there and easy and could kind of be put on someone else for some reason. So no, like I'm not trying to say anything bad here. My sense is just sort of like, you maybe needed, like we're in a place of like what you were supposed to be growing in and learning in around finances was a partnership aspect. But in terms of like personal development and inner growth, that just wasn't like part of what was in the stars for you. But moving to the present, something has shifted slightly there. The hummingbird is a little more serious than the moth, but it's still lighthearted. It's still easy, and very joyful, very heart-centered and joyful, but it is a little bit lightweight too, in terms of like thinking about earth and material and the 3D realm, which is where finances live. But again, I feel like you're more in this like spiritual development place. Like it's not something that's part, like in a deep way, part of like your growing path. I don't get the sense that there's financial struggle at all. But if there is for you, it's sort of like maybe it's because it's not an area that you put a lot of emphasis on or that you're motivated by. And I do just get the feeling that the thing that you're supposed to be focusing on is a little bit more of spirituality right now. Of like spiritual growth, spirituality, spiritual growth, being in your heart, finding values, so finances have a pretty direct relationship to our inner values. And I feel like that's the thing you're kind of focusing on, is like, what do I value that brings me joy? And that could lead to improving finances, but I still feel like it's being taken a little bit lightly because it can be. So the thing coming through here to me is just like, keep working on what are your inner values. There's some divine spiritual growth going on there. And when you are called to anchor more into serious work and finances, or need to, that will serve you very well. That will absolutely help you to bring in finances you need, if that comes up that you do need to take that area more seriously. So yeah, my sense is like, keep working on your inner values. What do you value about life? What brings you pleasure, joy? What do you find beautiful? All these kinds of things, adding to a more defined sense of your senses, your 5 earthly senses, and giving you a little bit more definition in the material realm. That might be what it is. It's like you're kind of in the air and you're needing more definition to really drop into the earth energy, like 3D, so financial energy, in a more serious way. But you're like still kind of defining through your senses what you enjoy in the material sense, what brings you pleasure and happiness. So just keep working on defining that and connecting to what lights you up, what makes you feel happy. I do get the sense that in the future, there are going to be some things you have to confront a little bit more anchored. You're going to be a little bit more 4 feet on the ground. I mean 2 feet, but panther 4 feet. But just like anchor, you're going to be a little bit more anchored on the ground in the future. And the future pile for me, or section for me, is sometime in the next year from when you see this. Something's going to take place where you really kind of land on the ground from the air. And then with secrets and nicks, I think you will be taking all of this kind of spiritual, ethereal energy, and it's like you have these divine secrets of finances that will help you, but you're still going to have to confront what it means to be more anchored onto the earth, into the material realm. So it's a little bit of a dual thing coming in here. You have some gifts and weapons, but it's also about like really confronting some kind of, it feels to me like a desire. I feel like you coming here is even this desire that like, I do feel like I'm moving from this ether realm down into that heavier 3D realm. And so I feel like it's you making the decision to land more seriously and firmly into earth energy, and confronting what that means and how you survive there. But you still have these beautiful divine secrets and understandings and wisdoms that can help you while landing newly and feeling a little bit defensive on this more concrete place. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's get a couple more cards for each. Go a little deeper here. Okay, so for the past, for pile 2, Red Garden. For the present, Protective Nest. And for the future, Change of Season. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, and then we'll get a tarot card for each as well. Okay, for the past, for pile 2, 8 of Cups. Okay. For the present, for pile 2, 2 of Wands. And for the future of pile 2, Knight of Wands. Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, some kind of ending took place in your past. It may have been around a partnership, coming of age where you were no longer supported, you know, like a dependent in your family, or there could have been like a breakup in a relationship where you may have lost kind of a connection to like fertile finances, like abundance of finances. If that doesn't sound correct to you, there was just something that you had to leave behind, where you were a little bit whimsical with finances, didn't take them so seriously. Something happened in the past that like you had to drop in a little bit more. At the same time, looking at the present, you're still protected. Like maybe not at the same level as you came from, but you're still very protected. And honestly, maybe just like more free, like it's an exploration time of figuring out, with the 2 of Wands, of figuring out what you value, what money even means to me, what is the material realm to me, what purpose beyond just, you know, paying for some level of basic, you know, needs in life do finances mean to me? I feel like you're currently on a little bit of a looking for the right path, seeking, experimenting. So hummingbird in this sense kind of feels like the pollinator energy of like trying out all the different nectars, trying a few things on. It's like defining things, but you have to do that through exploring a little bit and being the hummingbird can go up and down and backwards and forwards, and it can travel a long distance. It's very quick. It's adaptable. So you may be trying different things right now to like understand who you are in a material sense. Like, what are your values? How do you create finances in your life? But you're still doing it under some kind of protected, stable place. But I think maybe you sense that like you won't have that nest forever. And that's kind of why you're like, okay, I've got to figure this out. Like I need to feel a sense of my own worth and value in life in a little bit more of a serious way. Instead of like letting finances kind of be something that just kind of naturally comes to me. Like I'm finding this new desire to go on a journey to understand how I do that for myself. So like even if you are very much so financially protected, just an example, like say you have a trust fund or you went through a divorce and still got like a pretty big chunk of change or something, you may still have this thing of like, yeah, but I want to feel that what it feels like to do something in the world and be valued for it. That's what this feels like. And it's like, but what do I do? How do I find that path? And it's like, stay light about this, explore, try different things on, because at the moment you're still protected. So there's no need to push yourself out of the nest prematurely. So still stay light about this. But sometime in the next year, you will definitely come out of the nest and you will land on your feet on the ground in a much more serious way of charging forward of like, how do I feel valued in life by bringing some kind of income in, even if it's just having an income in a different way. Like maybe you don't have any like chunk of change and you do make an income, but it's just not like, it's just kind of a thing. It's not, it doesn't have like a deep connection to you, but now you're like landing and you're like, no, how do I confront this and like really feel like I'm being paid to do things I value and I'm being paid for my worth. And it's like really coming out, finding that courage, that bravery to just jump in, pick a path and do it, and trust that you still have a lot of deep spiritual wisdom within you that can help guide you on this. But it will be a little bit of like a fierce thing out of the gate. And then we have seasons changing. So yeah, like something does happen. The season changes. The bird gets pushed out of the nest. It moves from chickling to adolescent, or from adolescent to adult, whatever it is, or adult to elder. There is like a phase change. So if you consider yourself a beginner at creating finances, you're moving into adolescent. If you consider yourself adolescent at creating finances, you're shifting into adulthood. If you consider yourself an adult at creating finances, you're moving into elderhood. Whatever makes sense to you, you're shifting seasons. You're leveling up, but that comes with its own set of challenges and its own things that have to be confronted and have to be fierce in you. But I see you having determination and fierceness and a go-get-em attitude and an eagerness and a willingness to prove yourself and go for it and go after it, and feeling excited and thrilled by this. Yeah, so there's energy there. You're still kind of confronting things. It's a little bit of a shamanic journey, but at the same time, it's like you have equally that knight's heart that would be willing to face a panther. So you have both sides of the coin, kind of the panther that's facing your shadows, but the knight's heart that's very willing and eager and excited to go do that. Yeah, interesting. Okay, let's get one more card on each of these. So for for the past for pile 2, freedom. I think that's this walking away from something. And then present for pile 2, action. Yeah, exploration, trying things, doing things, anything. Just take action, just try things. You're trying to figure out the path ahead. And it requires experimenting, and experimenting requires taking action and having the courage to try things and be okay with a lot of them not being right, or you not being perfect, or, you know, like, things can be messy. It's fine. The point is to connect to your center and what's lighting you up, what's bringing you joy. So just get out there and try it. The mistakes don't matter. The thing that lights you up and finding that is the thing that matters. Okay, the future for pile 2, trust. Yeah, trust that you're doing a great job at confronting whatever is being shown. You're confronting things. Trust that you've got this. Trust in your ability to level up in creating your own worth, your own income, your own financial picture, your own control of your finances. You've got this. You've got the energy. You've got a lot of deep spiritual wisdom and protection. It's naturally a change in season, so you're ready. You're naturally ready, organically ready for this. Just trust yourself. And I think because there's some things you're facing, some shadows and confronting some, you know, things maybe you've never confronted, you have to trust yourself. You're going to see a lot of new sides of yourself as you kind of chase a different way of being connected to your self-worth, hence kind of your financial management of life and income. Yeah, very interesting stuff. Let's move into the last couple things. I just want to get, I do want to get a planet associated with each of these. So for the past, for pile 2, Pluto. Yeah, I get the sense, obviously it won't be everybody, but I get a sense that a lot of you here were either married or came from some wealth, but at the same time, it enabled you to not have to really think about what it would mean to create your own finances in life and what that can do for your soul and your heart. And I think that's something that did stifle your soul. And I think whatever you were released from here, whatever kind of financial alliance you had to walk away from, was actually, in a spiritual sense, your freedom to now go on this different journey and really learn what finances mean to you and how to develop them for you and how to manage them for you. Okay, let's get a planet for the present. Sun. I think even though you're in this trying to figure it out place, experimenting, there is a lot of joy here. Just the fact that you're doing the work, that you're engaging with stepping up in a different and bigger and more personally owned way, and finding kind of your new path here. It's bringing clarity, it's bringing alignment, and it's bringing joy and energy to you, I believe. Okay, the future for pile 2. Mars. Yeah, this is a go get 'em. Warrior energy. You are really going to activate with new, I think that direction is coming in at some point, sometime this year. And you'll move from just feeling that new vitality and joy for kind of taking different kinds of steps for yourself to feeling activated and directed and motivated and having a clear sense of like the order of what you're trying to create in your finances. So overall, kind of getting this picture that like you may in the past have come from a more financially stable place, but at the same time, not being pushed to understand your own value through drawing your own finances, through creating your own finances. And that's the journey you're on now. And I think it's bringing a lot of new kind of fulfillment and a lot of new sides to you. So even though you may not be as like financially wealthy, I still think you're fine, and I think you're pushing yourself and you're really developing whole new sides of yourself, which is way more exciting. I think this was actually very trapped energy. Okay, let's get one card to show a message for you from Spirit about what to keep in mind in terms of moving from present to future. We've got Falcon. Use your keen perception and skills in making decisions. Do not delay. And that comes next to the action. Yeah, so just take action, do things, make decisions. Don't worry about if they're wrong or mistakes or if you're not perfect. I think there's lots of different paths you can try out, and not all of them are going to work, but the point is to make decisions, move forward, try things. You will at some point this year find that right path and charge ahead. So I do want to get some timing on this, since it feels my intention is sometime in the next year. I want to see which zodiacal season this might happen in. So from the time you see this reading, the next time this season comes around that we get will be an important one, whether it's when you feel like you've changed to this future phase or when you feel like you kind of see that on the horizon and get that it's coming, but you know, just some sort of evidence of this. Okay, so Scorpio. So this isn't going to be until late autumn, so like November for most people. So if you come to this right when I put it out, that's a good 10 and a half months away. But you may come to this at a very different time. And so Scorpio season, November, could be much closer than when you see this. Okay, I hope this was helpful. I hope it gave you some insight. If so, I always appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes. Also, always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments, and definitely hope you're having a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are, and hope to see you in future readings. Hello, Pile 3. Welcome to your reading all about the past, present, and future of your finances. You chose Isis and Rebirth along with this rose quartz point, which, last stone is still there. I'm going to put over to the side for you guys. And this card is representing the goddess presiding over the past of your finances. Let's see, it's getting a little dark. Let me turn on a light. Ooh, too much light. Maybe that's better. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to kind of go through this systematically. So we've got a goddess that's presiding over the past of your finances, and then we're going to get a goddess for the present and the future, along with an animal for each of those. And we're going to kind of unpack those and then do a few more cards for each and further unpack, just kind of systematically doing a few more oracle cards at a time to fill into, the past, present, and future of your finances. So let's get a goddess for the present of Pile 3's finances. Kali, liberation. Okay, and a goddess for the future of pile 3's finances. Ostra, new beginnings. Okay, actually I'm gonna move these a little bit. I can already see that you're going through some pretty big changes financially. What I will say here, just to ease your mind jumping in, is that the future, I intend for this to be sometime in the next year. And we'll find out a little more about that later in the reading. But let's get your animals before I share already kind of what's coming in. Okay, so animals for pile 3's past. Well, that one flipped over. So the lion, this feels like the next one. So animal for the present is a lizard. And an animal for pile 3's future, the firefly. Okay. So in the past, it definitely indicates that some kind of, like, you may have really changed financial situations. I don't know if that would have been through like a job change, a different relationship to budgeting and like understanding finances, or some kind of like, you know, marriage or something that changed your financial picture. But something happened that definitely in the past changed your financial picture. And I feel like it gave you a little bit more a greater sense of command in your life, a greater sense of, you may have had a promotion at like work into like a leadership position that gave you some sort of raise, or just whatever, like something, whatever you can think of in the last year to 5 years, kind of leaving the past a little open-ended so you can make your own associations of what this feels like to you. But something that made you feel a little bit more in command of your life. Let's see. Here we go. And that felt very different, just like a very different picture. Something that happened in your life that gave you a very different picture of feeling in command of your finances and resources. So yeah, learning things about finances, a promotion, a marriage, something like that. Currently, I think that you're also going through a big shift. Kali is a goddess, is a dark goddess of kind of, you know, death and transformation. So I do feel like it's hard to say. I think it's probably different for a lot of people here, and that's why it's, at least at this point, not clear why there's a transformation happening. But I'll throw out a few scenarios. Maybe you've been on a career track that you no longer find purpose in, and so you're like starting over, which means a change in finances. Some of you could be divorcing or marrying. Some of you could be paying off a huge debt that frees up new resources, or like you could be, there's so many things that come to mind here. You could be newly working on financial planning, so like setting up 401ks and investing and just different things where you're expanding your financial picture, and that's transforming something here. Whatever the case for you, whether that's difficult or a positive transformation, there is an end to be dealt with here, no doubt, with Kali. You're letting go of something, but I don't know if that's like because you have a promotion or if it's because you lost it. Like I think it could go either way with this. So yeah, hard to say if the financial picture is impacted positively or negatively in this transformation. But despite what that is to you, with the lizard showing up, this is saying the present is a moment and a gift. This transformation that's taking place right now is a gift for you to go into the dream time and to find vision of what it is you value, how you connect to the material world, what finances mean to you beyond just a sense of like being able to provide the basic necessities in life and security. What does it mean? Do finances to you reflect kind of the worth, some kind of like how you feel valued in the world? Do they reflect doing things that you value, like earning money, doing something you truly value? For a lot of you, that could be the thing that's transforming right now, is like really more deeply connecting to what your values are and figuring out a way to feel financially valued for your inner values, for doing things that connect to your inner values, and for molding your world in a way that feels good to you, that feels beautiful and enchanted to you, really. And then looking at the future, you will some point in the next year move out of this transformation into a new start. And it feels like you're going to have this spark of inspiration that is momentary, that you're going to have to jump on immediately. Like it's a spark that could come and then disappear if you don't jump on it, but some kind of new beginning financially. So again, that could be like a different job or a relationship that changes the financial picture, or just your own inherent self-worth that shifts what you feel you're worth, hence what you ask for and draw in, type of thing. But let's get a little bit more into this. Let's do a couple more oracle cards for each of these. So let's look at pile 3's past. Under my umbrella. Okay. Let's look at pile 3's present. Weaving flowers. Oh, and then pile 3's future. The gardener. Beautiful. Okay. All right. Okay, let's get a tarot card for pile 3's past. The Empress. It's very regal energy in the past. I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Tarot card for pile 3's present. Well, yeah, something's definitely changing right now. And a card for pile 3's future. 9 of Swords. Okay. Okay. So this past thing, I don't know if you were taken under the wing of somebody, There was some protection that came in the past that allowed you to explore your creativity. Some kind of financial protection in this rebirth. Yeah, the past you came from definitely like feels like a very solid place, like something, but with the rebirth with Isis, like something big shifted, and it helped to protect you, and it helped to make you feel more free to explore your creativity and relax into life in a financial way. This feels like a lot of financial beauty, like newly coming into it though. I don't know what happened. I want to get a card. I'm trying to think what card to get. I want to get a card to help understand what happened. Because it seems pretty extreme to have like a rebirth and then straight into another kind of death and rebirth. It's like you went through one big change and now you're going through another big change back to back. I don't know, it might be different for each of you, but I still I'm feeling called to draw one card that bridges these. 7 of Wands. Okay. This feels more personal in nature. You may have taken a risk that kind of shifted you from this more sure, secure place to kind of like step up and take up bigger space, put yourself out there more, and it like maybe opened different opportunities and different doors. Yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, that feels right. Like you've dared to be even bigger. It's like you rebirthed into like a kind of a comfortable scenario, and that gave you sort of a foundation to feel courageous and daring. And you've taken it feels like you've taken at least some kind of leap, put yourself out there into a competitive something or other. So I don't know if it's towards like a different kind of career or like a different opportunity. Like to me this feels like maybe this is just one scenario. Obviously it's not going to be anyone's exact scenario, but just metaphor for how this feels is like something happened. Let's just say you got married, that changed your financial picture to be more secure because now the household has 2 incomes. It made you feel more courageous and creative and protected to then like, and say you have just like a normal 9-to-5 job, but you still are just feeling financially in control of your life, like good. But that's given you the courage to take the leap to write a book or a screenplay and put that out there, and all of a sudden it got accepted. But that means suddenly you have to dream different dreams, and it shakes up like, oh, okay, so this 9-to-5, is that something I could give up? Do I have enough traction in this new thing? It's like a different direction for my life. Can I do this? And feeling kind of defensive, like competitive and defensive and trying to hold on tight to things. But the Wheel of Fortune is saying that you are going more and more towards this different thing kind of coming through. And it's like, keep an open mind, dream some dreams. What's your vision for this new area that would draw finances to you in a different way, like more on, this is maybe like a secure every 2-week paycheck, both you and a spouse. Again, this is just metaphor example, But moving over here would mean like, okay, so I'm getting this book published and I get a huge chunk of change, which means I can kind of relax for a year or two, but then that means I need to write the next book or the next thing or get a job in this industry. And am I up for that? Can I survive on that? Or do I need to keep the other job? And sort of feeling defensive of like what to do and trying to position yourself in both. And and this is saying the wheel is turning. It's going more towards this risk you took. And it's time to see how flourishing you could be here and see how visionary you could be in this new area. And it's liberating you. I love, because Kali to me always has that like death and transformation. So when I saw liberation, I'm like, yeah, I get that, but not sure how that comes in. And now I'm feeling that deeply. Like this is liberating to you doing something that you feel your values are more aligned to. It's more of a risk, but it more connects to who you want to be, which will draw finances to you more easily. I feel like you shouldn't worry about the thing you're kind of moving toward right now. I think it's more aligned to who you want to be, and that when we do that, instead of doing what we do, but instead of the doing, the being is the thing that amplifies our life. So you're transitioning into coming into being who you want to be, and that will change your financial picture. It is a risk. It is a transformation. It is an overhaul in terms of like your financial picture, but the potentiality of it is huge. And I do see in the future, though, there's a lot of things to tend to. There's a lot of inspirational sparks coming through. I do see you really stepping towards this new thing. And this to me now is like multiple sparks of inspiration, not just one that you need to catch on to, but like in where you're moving in terms of how you connect to your finances. The thing that contributes to that the most is staying connected to those flashes of inspiration and then planting those and tending them and not letting them disappear. I do see as you get your, move into this new phase in the future at some point this year, there being some anxiety about everything we already talked about. Like, am I cut out for this? Is this sustainable? Am I good enough? I'm not feeling creative right now. When will I feel creative again? But the gardener is saying, get out of your head and get into the process. Work the process, and you will plant an abundance of things that will contribute and provide financially for you. So just some advice coming up about your future of like, if you can, the more you can just get into process, like capturing the inspirations and then moving them into process and just producing, you will have more than enough. You will create fruitfulness. But I get that takes trust, and I get there being anxiety about that, but this is saying as long as you move into a process orientation around what's coming, you will have the finances you need. These will create harvests of finances that will sustain you, that will support you. Okay, let's get another card for each of these. Okay, for the past of pile 3's finances, power. Again, something, just confirming something happened in your past that made you feel more stable, made you feel more powerful. that's led you to where you are now, that's kind of rocking your world. Okay, card for pile 3 is present of finances. Healing, chaos. Well, with the Kali, death and rebirth, and changing, something changing with the wheel, change of season. It's just like a transition time where you're moving from one thing to the next, and it is a little bit chaotic, not only in like what are the right moves and the right decisions and the right balance of things, but managing emotions like, fear and confidence and the uncertainty of the future, and letting go of something that is certain, and whatever is connected to you. I'm just trying to tap into certain things this could be, but definitely feeling a little bit of like in a little bit of turmoil. But the turmoil is here because you are being pushed to do things that you value more deeply, that you want to be. And that's a scary thing to do. And it does change for you in this circumstance, your financial picture. It's more of a risk. But it feels worth it from what I can see. It feels like it's aligning you to you. It feels fruitful in the future, even though it does also bring some anxiety. I think you'll get over that hump, and the first couple years may have that as you get established in something that's different. But it's still aligning you more to the value of your personal value, aligning you to more of your personal value, hence feeling valued financially for what you value. Okay, card for pile 3's future. Happiness. See? Yep. Loving it. All good. It is. I get it. It's to shake things up with a lot of uncertainty is no small thing. But it's, even if there's some bumps in the road and some uncertainty about making changes that make your financial future feel uncertain, follow the path to where your happiness lies, to where you are being, instead of doing things to try and be something that you don't know is what you want to be, like be who you want to be, and then do the things that align with that being. And that is where you're headed. So stay with your heart, stay with what makes you happy. Sure, there will be uncertainty and a little bit of anxiety, but you will get over that hump, especially if you stay process oriented. Okay, let's get a planet for each of these, just a little extra more. So in the past, South Node. Whatever brought in this power was sort of karmic in nature. For some of you, this does feel sort of like a marriage, that maybe it was like soulmate style. So I do feel that even though this is all in the past, I do feel for many of you, obviously not everybody, that I do feel some kind of relational support. That is, even though this show's in the past, I think it's still, there's some security still retained here. In whatever this power is that gave you the courage to kind of take a leap. Okay, a planet for the present. North Node, but you're in terms of like chasing what you truly value and a financial picture that, like, income that matches what you value, being valued for what you valued. You're chasing your destiny right now. Stay with that energy. That North Node is very hungry. Stay with that hunger. Chase it. It is leading you to your destiny. Okay, let's get a planet for your future. Mercury. Yeah, this is connections, networking, ideas, community. So plug in. When you feel yourself move to this future space, really stay plugged in with people, connect with communities, broaden your network, expand your mind, learn new things, stay active, stay engaged. That's something that will really help you find your footing and more surety and more kind of stable things. You are planting with this gardener. It's like you are planting very stable things. It just takes time to bring a seed into harvest, right? But staying engaged, staying with community, learning, networking, this is going to be important on that future path. Okay, let's get one card, a Divine Feather message, to give you some kind of spiritual guidance of bridging between the present and the future. A whole bunch of cards are trying to come out, but this one is the one that really fell upright. Meadowlark. Smile. You will soon experience a wonderful journey of inner discovery. Yeah, follow what makes you happy, follow what makes you feel more you. Discover who you are through this too. Really beautiful. Okay, last thing, just want to get some timing on this future thing. I know it's some point in the next year from when you see this, but I want to further hone down some timing. So I'm going to roll a zodiac dice. So the sign that comes up will match the zodiacal season in which this shift will at least start to feel some kind of footing, if not fully present. So Libra is a sign coming up. So that is, for the most part, October. So from when you see this, the next October is the time when this new path will really kind of feel present, or some evidence of it in your life. So if you come to this right when I put it out, that means there's a big chunk, like 9.5 months of kind of being in this transition phase around finances. So if this is about potentially leaving a 9-to-5 or doing something more risky that doesn't really provide that, maybe create if you have 9.5 months before you really make that transition and leave the old thing, like maybe create a little savings and nest egg, just a little extra something to soften some anxiety that could be coming once that's let go, if that is the case for you. Obviously that's probably not exactly what it is for everybody, but for those of you that makes sense, this shows like 9.5 months, so save a little, squirrel a little way for a little safety net. Okay, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope this was insightful. I hope it was helpful. I'd love to hear in the comments how this hit for you, and definitely if it resonated, I appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes. Definitely always grateful for kind and thoughtful comments as well, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are, and I hope to see you in future readings. Hello Pile 4, welcome to your reading all about the past, present, and future with finances in your life. So you picked the sort of whitish agate stone with Leizi, revelation. So this goddess is going to represent or preside over the past category in your finances. So we're going to put her kind of over on this side. And the way we're going to do this is I'm going to get a goddess and an animal for each of the categories, past, present, future. We'll unpack that a little bit, and then I'll add a few more or a couple more oracle and tarot cards for each, unpack it a little more, and then that process once again. So kind of in layers, unpacking this past, present, sort of future insight into your finances. So let's get your other goddesses. So for pile 4, goddess for the present of their finances. And Nemesis, I think that's how you pronounce it, with the past. That's interesting. Okay. And then pile 4 with the future. Scold the future. That's really fascinating how these came out, actually. Huh. We'll see what that kind of leads to. I'm gonna try and set these categories up more. That plant does not want to let that in there. Okay, let's make better room. Sorry, hold on. I just am a little particular about my alignments. Okay, so I'm actually going to put your stone up here. Those are your goddesses. Let's get the animals, and then we'll dive into the initial kind of first impression. So animal over your past, crocodile. Okay. An animal for your present, cosmic egg. That's very cool with the past. That's very mysterious. Okay. And then an animal for your future. Raccoon. All right. Okay. So, general impression here, you guys are definitely my pile where, at least in relation to finances, you do have like some, I don't know if it's in general or just sort of a phase that's been unfolding for some time. But there's definitely like electric energy here and very spiritual energy here. It feels very exciting. I don't know if you feel like in general you have like a little bit of a, I don't know another word to put here, but like an excitement energy around finances, like you know how to excite or stimulate things. That said, let's look at these actual categories. So like what's going on in sort of a timeline. Like I said in the intro, I'm leaving the past up to you. So whatever resonates when you think of your past. So this could be a past in terms of like 5 years ago, a year ago, a month ago, whatever kind of when you think of your past with finances and what we unpack here. That's going to be up to you to say when that past feels like. Present is obviously now. The future, I intend for that to be something that is going to, you'll move into this sometime in the next year. So that could be in a month or in 12 months. And we will get some timing for you at the end around that. So just looking at the past, it feels like in the past, there was some digging, there was some waiting, there was some observing. There may have been some breakthroughs. You may have kind of taken a step back to get a bigger picture of your finances and really understand some patterns around maybe how you budget, how you spend, doing some like bigger sort of planning. I think there were some goals made, some observations made, and some goals made that really sort of shook up and awakened something in you in terms of like how you were either bringing like an income in, so finances in sense of like a job or career, or else how you were doing financial planning and saving and or paying off debts or something. And this could even have been like some kind of new strategy for paying a debt down, or making a big purchase. This actually feels like some kind of big moment, a purchase or a payoff. And when I say like a big purchase, like a car or a house or a loan for something, you know, a loan could have been for school or a house or a car, but something where you like had to wait and observe and make sure the timing was right and the circumstances were right, and sort of found a way to infuse energy into something financially and find kind of a path to do something big financially. That's what the past feels like to me. Some big moment in that. Yeah, that actually feels correct. There was some big thing, like a purchase or a loan that was exciting and big. If that doesn't resonate for you, it was just some kind of awakening by really observing your finances and having some sort of new surge of energy and plan and like an ability to envision something about the future with your finances. But it does feel exciting, something exciting with finances that you waited a long time for. Currently, it feels like whatever took place in the past, you are still entangled with. Like the present is very entangled with what this feels like a moment, a thing, an event that took place. And right now you're very much so entrenched in that. Like it could be that you're now working on like finding stable ways to make payments on certain loans, feeling a little bit tied to that past, but not resentful of it. I don't feel resentment about that, but it's just sort of like you're going through the paces now, like finding that sustainable path forward with whatever this was. So if it was more about financial planning, you're like entrenched in filling that out, taking the steps to, add, to savings and this portfolio or paying this debt or whatever it is. But like whatever started here, you're just in the process of, and it feels like I feel like you are somewhat protected. Whatever happened here, it feels like it was divinely orchestrated, but you're just kind of in the managerial process with this, managing what started here. Not in a negative way, but like finding the sustainable patterns to maintain whatever this was. But there is a sense of protection around you in that. So definitely like a message coming through to relax about it. Even though I don't feel any resentment about what you're having to now maintain due to what you started, I do feel this thing of coming through of saying like, you were meant to do this big thing. And you're protected with it. So don't bring up any, even though there's not resentment, don't bring up any, release any doubts, release any stress or anxiety about it. It was divinely orchestrated and you're protected in whatever that means to you. And then looking at the future, I feel you getting even a greater foothold, like moving past this ability to sustainably maintain what started in the past, and having even further revelation, further kind of stimulating breakthrough awakening energy of like how to transcend whatever this is. So if this is like a loan or a debt, like how to pivot with that around that in a big way, how to have a breakthrough where you feel some freedom around whatever that was. Like suddenly maybe there's new financial paths that make the payments even easier, or you can pay more. Or if this is more about savings and financial planning, like breakthroughs of like really leveling up here. But I do see, yeah, I mean, you have electrical energy here. So there is this sense of like really needing to trust yourself and trust kind of these intuitive, instinctual things that take place and things that feel sort of like you're supposed to trust like a higher guidance in your financial path. Like that's helping to feed you downloads and awakenings and paths forward. In the future, there is something coming through about, there's different ways the raccoon could go, but I'm getting this Robin Hood element where, you know, one beautiful thing about raccoons, and I don't even think this is in the guidebook, I'm pretty sure it's not, is, you know, they kind of go out and scavenge in little families or packs, and they will always designate one of their pack to be the lookout. And whatever the other raccoons in the group are able to scavenge, they give first pick to the lookout. So they're very communal. Like their sense of, if you were to think of the things they're able to scavenge and you know, the food morsels that are able to scavenge in their little hunts at night as like their currency, their finances, they're very socialistic. They're a very socialistic animal. And so something may be coming through, some idea, some awakening coming through of like how to be generous with some awakenings around your finances, with those that are in your circle at least, minimally. It could even be bigger where you see some sort of financial solutions for a bigger community where you're able to create economy, you know, being able to like hire people or I mean, whatever it is, this feels like an expansion in an awakening and an expansion in finances. And through that, this ability to also support others and give back through not just like your income, because sometimes like our income is the thing we use for our personal life, but this feels more like you're able to create jobs and economies and be able to give to your community in that capacity where you're creating a ripple effect through things you're doing. So that's really cool. It could be more, you know, like whatever makes sense to you. It may be more personal where you just have this boost in your personal economy and your personal understanding of how finances work in your life, that you're able to contribute more to your little, you know, it might just be your household or with family or, you know, just people very close to you, or it could be much bigger where you're expanding an economy that is able to boost multiple incomes and give back in that sense. You could also be charitable with some money coming in. Yeah, so really interesting. Okay, let's go a level deeper into each of these. So another card for pile 4's past. Mermaids love. Interesting. Well, let's get one of these for each. Okay, oracle card for pile 4's present. Can you hear me? Okay. And then an oracle card for pile 4's future. No rain today. Yeah, sun coming out. Okay. Let's also get a tarot card for pile 4's past. Queen of Cups. Okay. Tarot card for pile 4's present. 2 of Pentacles. Yeah, okay. And a tarot card for pile 4's future. Ooh. This is the one that flipped over in my hands, so that's the one I'm going to take. But something about this 4 of Cups is also feeling interesting. I kind of I want to put that at the bridge here. It was coming out for this, came out when I was shuffling for this, but it feels like a bridge card. It kind of, that's sort of where it fell to. So that's what I'm going to use it for. Okay, so here, I do think you were divinely inspired. There was mama energy here too. Like, I think you felt looked after, whether it was by a sense of spiritual support or literal support. And for some of you, it may have been a spouse that said, yeah, this is the time you should do this thing that ignites something, some kind of financial thing in your life, whether that's new planning or a loan for something. There was support in this. Whatever it was, it feels very nourishing to me. Like it was nourishing your soul. It was leveling up your... It does feel like a loan to me for something. Yeah, I mean, it may have been a house or apartment loan, or even just like leveling up and like getting a new place to rent that was a little bit more expensive than where you were before. It could be financial planning for some of you, but it feels for the most part like some kind of loan where there was a supportive other. For many, it could have been a spouse, but it might have, for others, been like a family member or a friend. But someone very supportive that was like, yeah, if you feel good about this, you should do it. And it was something that was coming from a soulful place and coming from a place of trying to nourish yourself, trying to make you feel more secure in your depths and your foundations. Yeah. And it does feel, it feels like a positive thing that you did here, even if at the moment it feels like now you're dealing with the impact of that. Like payments, or you committed to some sort of financial plan that requires a certain amount of investment every month, or this debt that you're now having to pay. It does feel a little bit like, oh wow, this is a much bigger long haul thing than maybe I anticipated. But it does show that you're finding ways to juggle this, but at the same time kind of feeling like, but can I find a breakthrough in how to more powerfully manage what this has now brought to me? So if it's like payments on a loan is kind of maybe stalled you out at a certain level because of the payments, you can't really expand your life or like take those extra vacations. There is some duty with it. There are things you have to prioritize because of it and juggle because of it and put some pressure on your plate because of it. And the message again coming through is like, just trust the process. You are being watched over. It may feel monotonous. It may feel like you're being tied down a little because of what that past was. But again, just to repeat what was said earlier, it was divinely orchestrated. You are protected. Just hang in there. You will be coming out of what feels like a little bit of a cave with this. A little bit of a maybe insecurity around this. And I definitely tune into the can you hear me? I feel like you talking to spirit or that spiritual you felt kind of spiritually guided in this and you felt protected, and now you're sort of like, but can you help me further? I feel kind of in a black hole with this, like because of what happened here, I now feel like I'm on this path that I don't know how to expand in life, and I need like another breakthrough of like how to move past just the monotony of what this has brought. So however long you need to just stay in that mode, just trust that you're still protected. It may be monotonous, but whatever was started in the past was nourishing. It was divinely orchestrated. You've got this. You're protected. You may feel like spirit isn't listening, but it is. It's just a timing thing. You may be learning some lessons about holding some pressure with this. That may be part of what is going on here. You having to learn how to shoulder some financial pressure, and because of that, coming out with stronger character and a stronger fortitude in personal finances. And it's kind of just like, yeah, it's made life a bit mundane. It's kind of pushed you down into a little bit of a cave and like, how do I dig myself out of this? Past, like just one example, if you took out a school loan and now it's like a 30-year payment plan, if you're paying the minimum or something like that. And it's like, well, I want to be able to pay 10 times the minimum and that not be a problem for me, so I don't feel kind of like put upon by this, so I can free up my finances to progress in life. So whether that was a home or renting a different place that was more, or even moving to like a different job that had like more pressure, or financial planning that now you kind of feel like you're just in this cycle with it, and feel a duty and responsibility to add to kind of financial planning rather than using your finances for exciting things, which I do feel like you like that. You have exciting energy with finances. And I feel like right now you don't have access to that. And so you're kind of like, can you hear me, spirit? Help me out here. Like, I feel like you led the way to do this, but now I don't get to touch finances in the way that in that stimulating way that I'm used to. But the future is showing you do have a breakthrough. Spirit does come through to give you a download, to give you an awakening, to make a move, to see your future very differently. And the no rain today is like clarity coming through. You're coming out of the cave, out of the depths. You're seeing a path forward. You're seeing your future with brighter light, brighter feeling, that electricity coming back. Clear path ahead. Something is happening and you're stepping into like a much more, but whatever you're going through here and right now is showing that you're like moving into a much more commanding, authoritative place within yourself and within the financial realm, and feeling kind of like a fluid yet compassionate understanding of finances, which could be very much so this, like the King of Cups to me feels like that thing of like coming out of having to think so much about yourself and finances to that creating some pressure and character in you and some strength in you that you're like, well, actually that strength that I've developed through kind of going through this monotonous thing actually has awakened me and my strength to know how to bring opportunities to others and not just find personal strength in it, but like really strengthen other people through the way I can see the future in finances and the kind of leadership I'm able to carry and the care I have for others. Like that raccoon scenario that I gave in conjunction with the King of Cups feels very much so like very loving and wanting to contribute to the world financially, whether that's through philanthropy or through creating economies that give others jobs, or just being a very financially supportive person in your own sort of like household or family. Yeah, it's really beautiful. So kind of like hang in there is the feeling for right now. It's not going to be forever, and this future pile is intended for within a year. So this is not forever, and a change, this sensation, this new awakening is coming within a year. So like hang in there means like it's not long. Hang in there for not long. Okay, so one more card to go a little further, and then we'll do a couple little ending things. Okay, so for pile 4's past, filling this card, forgiveness. Okay. Interesting. Okay, for pile 4's present, flexibility, yeah. And for pile 4's future, thriving. Don't you love it? Beautiful. Whatever you're experiencing now due to the past is not much longer. Stay flexible. Stay with the program. I honestly feel like this forgiveness is more about the present in reference to the past. Especially because that's, the goddess that came out is the past. And so I do feel like there's maybe a little bit of rumination here. Again, not regret, but just sort of like doubt, more of like a doubt thing. And an anxiety thing, and it's sort of like forgive any rumination you have. It's time to surrender that rumination and let go and just trust it was the right thing. You're on the right path. Everything's going to be fine. Just stay flexible for the present. Keep doing what you're doing. Maybe stay curious, stay engaged and curious, because some download and awakening is coming. So it's sort of like, yes, continue in this rhythm that you're in that may feel monotonous, continue that, but also be open-minded, flexible, look for different patterns, look for different opportunities, openings, because something is coming in that is really shifting things, is much brighter and thriving with finances. Come on. Yeah, so good things are coming. Hang in there. Let's get a planet that is involved in each of these. A planet for the past. Jupiter. This could have been learning. This could have been like loan for learning or a loan for any kind of expansion though. But that taps into that leveling up, learning to feel like you've nourished and expanded your knowledge, or a loan that was able to expand your home in some way, or that expansion being financial planning. But definitely whatever happened here was about expanding and feeling more nourished by an expansion. And then in the present, the planet that wants to speak to your present is the sun. Stay hopeful, stay energetic, try to stay positive. This feels like guidance rather than where you maybe feel yourself at, is like the sun is coming. Stay positive, stay on the path, stay aligned and true to things. Stay active too, and creative. Okay, and a planet for the future. Mercury, movement, change, community, knowledge, shifts. Yeah, just movement and change coming. It's going to feel more electric again. It's going to feel more, and that thriving, that electricity is more able to be involved in commerce and movement. I do feel this thing of like wanting to travel again or something. And yeah, if that's something you're wishing your finances allowed, I do see that. Even if it's like local travel, it may be foreign travel. I do feel like this thriving, and it's clearly like an African setting. So unless you live in Africa in an area where you might have access to seeing giraffes, then that's maybe more local travel. But for the rest of you, that would indicate like global ability to travel again, or more, or something like that. Yeah, beautiful. Okay, and then we're going to get one last message before ending with a divine feather message that will give you just some, just a little beautiful guidance and message about this transition time from present to future. Oops. 2 came out. I think I want to take both of them. So White Eagle, the connection to divine guidance is within you. And we've already really felt that. This, whatever is going on, is divinely orchestrated. So stay connected to the divine, to spiritual trust, to openness. And then White Turkey, the power to heal the earth is within you. And the earth in this scenario feels like finances. The power to heal some finances is within you. And I don't get the sense that like finances are like damaged, but there are some burdens I feel at present. And so the power to kind of like heal that is within you, and it is leading to the future. Okay, very last thing. I do want to get some timing for this future. We're going to roll a Zodiac dice. And whichever sign it lands in will indicate which season from when you see this is going to be the zodiacal season where this either really unfolds, or at least you feel the essence of it coming. Okay. And you have Capricorn. Okay, if you see this right when it comes out, we will still be in Capricorn season. It is possible for some of you that some kind of breakthrough is happening within the next, like, I'm going to say week, because when this comes out, let's see, 20th. I'm trying to think of the date in my mind. I know that 20, hold on, give me 1 second to do a little counting in my head. Sunday, Monday, 20, 4. Yeah, if you see this like the day or within a couple days of it coming out, it's like within a week something's happening. If you see this later, it's the next Capricorn season. Or if nothing happens within a week of seeing this and it's still Capricorn season, then it's going to be the next Capricorn season. So like a year from now, which in the big picture still is not a long time to move from such a big jump, such a big shift. So yeah, either way, like either this is happening so immediately for some of you, like I don't know what that is, like you getting an inheritance or a new idea that kind of you launch, or a promotion or a different job, something that shakes up your finances for the good, or a spouse getting like a different raise, or whatever it is. It could be so many different things, but something it would feel with it being like that short of a transition from this to this, like feeling somewhat miraculous. So I do imagine for some of you it's a year away, but yeah, I mean, just keep an open mind though. Something big may be happening in the next week. So there you go. All right, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. I hope it was helpful. I hope it was insightful. Definitely, especially if this is like, feels like it's more of a year away for you to move, just hang in there, stay trusting, stay positive. You're in a good flow. You're finding your priorities. This whole process is strengthening you, and you've got it. It's like, don't stress, don't ruminate, just be present with it, be flexible, keep an open mind, keep at it. It's all good. The future is very bright. So, all right. If this resonated, I always appreciate support with likes and shares and subscribes. Also, always appreciate kind and thoughtful comments. And I wish you guys a beautiful day wherever and whenever you are. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in future readings.